Hello, welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Chat About It with me, Rachel, aka the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters. Thank you very much. I accept the honor, truly. This video is a bit of a doozy because guess what? Our Sense and Sensibility cast have been brought back and they have been recast in a fresh new imagining that apparently is authentic to the work. Don't know where they got that from. Let's take a look. Hallmark recasts Sense and Sensibility and debuts other Austen-inspired films. And here are our leading ladies. Now, for those of you who are listening, we have 4 black ladies in high society costume in the era where Sense and Sensibility is set. Let's have a quick gander at the article. The Hallmark Channel is best known for its popular contemporary Christmas-themed fare. But this February, or Lovevery, or whatever it is that they're calling it, I can't even say it, as they are calling it, the new network has a different course for celebration, the debut of a quartet of new films inspired by the creativity and fandom of Regency-era novelist Jane Austen, including Sense and Sensibility, with a mostly black-led cast. The first 3 films center contemporary women finding love in connection with their favorite writer, each one highlighting a dimension of the novelist's enduring appeal. In Paging Mr. Darcy, which kicks off the series with its premiere Saturday, 3rd of Feb, a serious Austen scholar who praises rationality among to the exclusion of feeling loosens her stay while vying for a tenure track position at Princeton University, delivering the keynote address at a customary fan convention is far from Eloise's speed, but since the search chair is the organizer, she reluctantly plays along. Her guide and romantic interest is the events of Mr. Darcy. It's a great example of Austen tropes fused with one of Hallmark's mainstays, the fish-out-of-water style rom-com, which benefits from physichemistry between its leads. In Eloise's voice, the film effectively highlights, if not quite rising to, Austen's strength, her wit, prose, and razor-sharp observation. The next 2 films, debuting on Feb 10th and 17th, share an element of bookish fantasy. Love and Jane stars of Days of Our Lives veteran Alison Sweeney as a Boston-based aspiring novelist who gets advice from Jane Austen herself. In An American in Austen, the aptly named Eliza Bennet stars as a librarian in a romantic crisis who magically transported into her favorite novel Pride and Prejudice, and gets to meet Mr. Darcy, the hero of her heart, to whom no real man can compare. This was the only film not available for screening, but the early clips are delightful. The 4th and final film in the Hallmark Love Annuary with Jane Austen lineup is an altogether different kind of standout. This is the real headliner of the group, and first for the channel, a diverse full-on period drama based on Austen's first published novel, Sense and Sensibility, complete with lavish ball gowns and Regency-appropriate manners. Revisiting Sense and Sensibility. Now, this is what actually I'm trying to get at here. Okay, so despite staying true to the classic marriage plot of love and inheritance, in which the Dashwood sisters are displaced from their home following the death of their father, this is a Sense and Sensibility of strikingly different hue. UK-based British actors and actresses of African descent play 4 of the 5 principal characters, Eleanor and Marianne Dashwood, and potential suitors Colonel Brandon and Mr. John Willoughby. Led by British-Nigerian actress Deborah Ironide, I think I've said that correct, star of The Riches and an Independent Spirit Award nominee for them, as the practical, sense and sensible elder sister Eleanor, and Bethany Antonia as Marianne. The cast includes several of the best supporting actors on British television. Martina Laird, who gave a harrowing performance as the struggling man harbouring secrets in the 5th season's ITV's PBS's Unforgotten, delivers a bravo comedic turn as Mrs. Jennings. Carlis Pearce, who so contained as DS Kate Miskin on Dalgleish, is an elegantly scheming and iron fist in a velvet glove as Eleanor and Marian's snobbish sister-in-law, Fanny Dashwood. Eleanor's different love, Edward Ferrars, is played by one of the few non-British cast members, Canadian-born actor Dan Jennett, who is white. Why did we feel the need to make that point? Oh, yeah, because it's a predominantly black cast. Okay. No newcomer to love stories, Jennett is Hallmark favourite, and perhaps best known outside of his work on the channel as the off and on love interest Ryan Decker to the bold type's ambitious Jane Austen. And it goes on to talk about Hamilton and some of the other bits and pieces. And it says here something that I find intriguing, and this is something really that should be applied to other work. Now, it would seem that it's adapting some of the other pieces and sort of like having this modern element to it, but with the Sense and Sensibility, that's not what's happening. It says respect the work and do something creatively refreshing. So really what you should be doing with Sense and Sensibility, because this is really what I'm focusing on, Sense and Sensibility, is you should be, if you're going down the route of authenticity, then no black person other than like a few people would ever be in that position of money, of status. They wouldn't have been in it at that time because that wouldn't have been authentic for the time. But they want to do something creatively refreshing. So why are they just doing Sense and Sensibility in a whole compassed period piece drama? Why are they doing that instead of doing perhaps potentially what they're doing with the other pieces, where they seem to be taking the other pieces of work and modernizing it or doing a retelling of it? You know, why can't we do a West Side Story type of Sense and Sensibility? I saw Pride and Prejudice, sort of, and that was one of the most clever modernization retellings of Pride and Prejudice I've ever seen, and it was hilarious. It was one of the funniest things I'd seen in a long time. Now, there's no reason why you can't take the concept of Pride and Prejudice and rework it, because there's no original story, and rework it into a new story or a modernized version story, like I saw with Pride and Prejudice, sort of, or even like Shakespeare works, because that's quite something that quite happens often with Shakespeare works. There's no reason why you can't do it. Why do we have to actually make this point of taking Regency era characters that would have been white people and swapping them? Why is it that we need to do that? Okay, woke. That's always the word that comes up, woke. And that's because people are actively doing something about it. They're recognizing a social injustice, and they're taking that social injustice and actively doing something about it. I heard something the other day that I found very, very interesting. Someone said it was cultural Marxism. Now, if you don't know what cultural Marxism is, I devised to look it up. But the concept behind what they were saying was very intriguing to me, because people are taking woke things, which are social injustices, and they are putting it into media, social media, entertainment. They're doing all of that, and they're actively doing something about it. They're forcing people to actively be aware that we know that they're, quote unquote, doing something about it. And it's creating a problem. What it's doing is it's creating a problem, because now people are so on edge. They're like, is it woke? Is it woke? Is it woke? I mean, the last thing that I what was it I commented on? It was, I can't remember. I think it was the Famous Five, where people they were so on edge because they thought they had an actual trans George, and it turns out this particular girl that was playing George wasn't trans at all. It was just, she was very much a tomboy, like George is herself, and she was mixed race, and people had a lot of issue and precedent over that. So why can't we, as a writer, hypothetically speaking, why can't we take something like we used to, like with Shakespeare, like with West Side Story, all of those gracious retellings that we have, and bring it into our modern day 2024 as we speak, and rework it that way? Why can't we do that? Why do we have to go back to something that is dated and say that's a social injustice, when in actual fact it's not? Because authentically for the time, then, you know, that would have been almost completely inaccurate. There may have been a few, like I said, but it's almost completely inaccurate. And if you don't believe me, take a look at working lives in historic England. Sorry, if you're looking on the screen, the perception's a bit off, but I will link it. It has some very interesting things about people in history, Black people in history. And I just really want these production companies to take a step back, slow down, look at what they're doing and saying, is this the right way to go about it? Because the majority are not. And this is why I heard the reference of cultural Marxism come up, because it's infiltrating our media and all of that, like I have said. And like I've said, if you don't know cultural Marxism, look it up. It's very interesting. And just say, look, we're sorry, we're getting it wrong. We're enforcing it on you too much. Why can't we just go back to plain storytelling where everything is a metaphor for something? And if you miss the point, then you've missed the point, and it doesn't matter because you've been entertained. But if you get the point, then you've learned something. Why can't we go back to that? Why does it have to be, no, we are purposely changing it? You know, from that article that I read, it sounded like that they were trying to rework some of Jane Austen's stuff into modern day, or quote unquote modern day. And that's not as bad. You know, if you take it out of its time setting, it's not as bad. But, you know, that's what I think. You might not think that. And for those of you who will go, oh, you're racist, Rachel. Is it racism? No, it's realistic. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.